Start by chanting the four great Bodhisattva vows. Sentient beings are numberless. We vow to help them all. Delusions are countless. We vow to see through them all. Opportunities to awaken are infinite. We vow to embrace them all. The Buddha way is endless. We vow to embody it. Okay, so we'll start with 15 minutes of seated meditation. We chant the Gatha on opening the sutras. This Dharma, incomparably profound and minutely subtle, is rarely encountered, even in hundreds of thousands of millions of ages. Now we see it, hear it, hold and maintain it. May we completely realize the mind of all Buddhas. Well, hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you for waving, Johnson. So tonight, I just want to have this thing open in front of me. The Buddha was not ordained. That may elicit a response of, I never thought of that, or, well, duh, or possibly in that same snarky way, who would have ordained him anyway? All valid. But the person that we consider to be the founder of our, if you want to say, religion, was not actually ordained in it or any other religion. Fair enough, that's not, the only time that's happened. I think any of the three Abrahamic faiths could, say the same thing. But it's interesting because in Zen, we put this premium on achievement or education or level of practice. There are some schools that unless you've sat in 1,200 hours worth of retreats, they won't even talk to you as far as, any sort of Dharma scenario, transmission, Inca, whatever it might be. We know that the Buddha story was that he was born wealthy and encountered birth, old age, sickness, and death. Well, old age, sickness, and death, anyway. And that was a real game changer for him because he saw that what he was exposed to in his own little world in the palace did not constitute all of reality. In fact, other than of itself, the amount of reality it represented was minuscule. So he went off on his quest and he was searching for the answer to this discomfort he was feeling. And eventually he came up with the answer. And so he moved on and shared what he found to be the answer, which we refer to as the Dharma. And he attracted some followers, first among the 5 ascetics that he had been working with prior to his going off and actually finding the answer he was looking for, waking up. And I kind of imagine the 5 of them seeing this not quite as emaciated Buddha and thinking, oh, well, old Gautama fell off the wagon, so I guess we can be nice to him and maybe show him the way again. But as it turns out, he showed them the way, and he became the teacher to his first 5 disciples, or monks, if you want to call them that. As time went on, and there was like 1,250 monks sitting in the audience hearing teachings of the Dharma, it was no longer just a bunch of guys who were hanging out and listened to this other guy speak. They lived together, they lived under the rules of the Vinaya. So in that regard, you could say they were ordained. There are a number of other occasions throughout the history of Zen and Buddhism where you would think that ordination or level of ordination would mean something. And sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Much in the same way as the Buddha relinquished his life of leisure, we know of Layman Pang, who was in the Tang Dynasty, and basically he relinquished all of his possessions to study sutras and work with teachers such as Jidao and Matsu. And let me just read you this little bit about our friend Layman Pang. The layman was sitting in his thatched cottage one day, studying the sutras. Difficult, difficult, he said, like trying to scatter 10 measures of sesame seed all over a tree. Easy, easy, Mrs. Pang said, like touching your feet to the ground when you get out of bed. The daughter, Ling Zhao, said, neither difficult nor easy. On the 100 grass tips, the great master's meaning. After Pang had retired from his profession, he's said to have begun to worry about the spiritual dangers of his wealth. So he placed all of his possessions in a boat and then sank them in a river. Conversely, we also have another person from the sutras that Layman Pang may have read about. And his scenario was very different from Layman Pang's or the Buddha's, in that he was a very successful merchant, and he continued to be a very successful merchant. His name was Vimalakirti, and he wasn't ordained. He wasn't a bodhisattva per se. He had no title attached to his name at all. And the Vimalakirti Nirdesa Sutra is one of my favorites for a number of levels, not the least of which is that it's really interesting prose. Some of the scenarios in there are just totally fantastic and almost science fiction like in their images. And on the other hand, it shows a lot about the Dharma, its practice, and who practices it. So I'm going to read a little bit to you from the chapter, Initiation into the Non-Dual Dharma. At that time, Vimalakirti said to the bodhisattvas present, "Virtuous ones, each of you please say something about the non-dual Dharma as you understand it." In the meeting, a bodhisattva called Comfort in the Dharma said, "Virtuous ones, birth and death are a duality, but nothing is created and nothing is destroyed. Realization of this patient endurance leading to the uncreate is a nation into non-dual Dharma." I'll skip around a little bit because there are untold numbers of bodhisattvas who weigh in on this. Bodhisattva highest virtue said, "Impurity and purity are duality. When the underlying nature of impurity is clearly perceived, even purity ceases to arise. Hence, this sensation of the idea of purity is initiation into the non-dual Dharma." The Bodhisattva Skillful Eye said, "Monastic form and formlessness," monistic, sorry, I was thinking of monks. Monistic form and formlessness are a duality. If monistic form is realized as fundamentally formless, with relinquishment of formlessness in order to achieve impartiality, this is initiation into the non-dual Dharma. And we'll go with one more here. The Bodhisattva Direct Insight said, this exhaustible and inexhaustible are a duality. If all things are looked into exhaustively, both the exhaustible and the inexhaustible cannot be exhausted. And the inexhaustible is identical with the void, which is beyond both exhaustible and inexhaustible. Such an interpretation is initiation into the non-dual Dharma. Anybody having any problem with any of that so far? Finding issues with anything that they've said? After the Bodhisattva had spoken, they asked Manjushri for his opinion on the new non-dual Dharma. Manjushri said, "In my opinion, when all things are no longer within the province of either word or speech, and of either indication of knowledge and are beyond question and answers, this is initiation into the non-dual Dharma." At that time, Manjushri asked Vimalakirti, "All of us have spoken. Please tell us what is the Bodhisattva's initiation into the non-dual Dharma?" Parentheses, Vimalakirti kept silent without saying a word. At that, Manjushri exclaimed, "Excellent, excellent. Can there be true initiation into the non-dual Dharma until words and speech are no longer written or spoken?" So in this case, and it happens throughout the sutra, where Vimalakirti, the layman, expresses a wisdom that the bodhisattvas, the Buddha's clergy people, if you like, didn't possess. They had an inkling, like all those bodhisattvas talking about the initiation into non-duality. They were kind of dancing around the outside maybe a little bit. They were, still attached to trying to explain things, to showing how learned they were maybe, or whatever it might be, whatever their motivation might be, they still found the need to use words to do it. Only Manjushri, when asking Vimalakirti about his take on the initiation into non-duality, I like to think of it as Manjushri is sort of throwing out the line and reeling it in and bringing Vimalakirti up to the surface so he could actually give the answer, which of course was no answer in this case. So we have those odd situations where we think we have to listen to the teachings of a person because of their status or their title. We think we know stuff ourselves and find it very easy to possibly argue with them or getting in some sort of flame war, to use the internet cool term. What Layman-Pang, the Buddha, and Vimalakirti all show us is that titles and degrees, having DDS, PhD, whatever, DVM, if that's a doctor of veterinary medicine, it could be, I don't know. All the letters after the name, the degrees, the titles, the levels of ordination, so on and so forth, are irrelevant when not in the presence of actual wisdom. Now, conversely, here I am sitting here talking for about 10 minutes, which one could argue was 10 minutes too much, and I'm just babbling, which may or may not be the case. But the words I'm using are there to prove a point that just because someone is in a position of authority, and this extends beyond Zen, doesn't mean we have to blindly obey, follow, or believe everything that they might have to tell us. So, in that regard, as the Buddha's dying words were, supposedly, be a lamp unto yourself. I can't enlighten you, you can't enlighten me. Subhuti couldn't enlighten Shariputra. The Dalai Lama can't enlighten anyone. We have to do our own work, our own discovering of our Buddha nature. And then, as a bodhisattva, as the Buddha did when he awakened, we try and go out and help all beings and share the Dharma in order to do so, whether using words or using silence. Okay, so now let me move this thing back out of the way. And we will proceed with another 15 minutes of seated meditation. We'll chant the Heart Sutra. Mahaprajna Paramita Hridaya Sutra Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, when practicing deeply the Prajna Paramita, perceives that all five skandhas are empty and is saved from all suffering and distress. Shariputra, form does not differ from emptiness. Emptiness does not differ from form. That which is form is emptiness. That which is emptiness, form. The same is true of feeling, perceptions, impulses, consciousness. Shariputra, all dharmas are marked with emptiness. They do not appear or disappear, are not tainted or pure, do not increase or decrease. Therefore, in emptiness, no form, no feelings, perceptions, impulses, consciousness, no eyes, no ears, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no color, no sound, no smell, no taste, no touch, no object of mind, no realm of eyes, and so forth, until no realm of mind consciousness, no ignorance, and also no extinction of it, and so forth, until no old age and death, and also no extinction of them, no suffering, no origination, no stopping, no path, no cognition, also no attainment, with nothing to attain. The Bodhisattva depends on Prajna Paramita, and the mind is no hindrance. Without any hindrance, no fears exist. Far apart from every perverted view, one dwells in nirvana. In the three worlds, all Buddhas depend on Prajna Paramita and attain Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. Therefore know that Prajna Paramita is the great transcendent mantra, is the great bright mantra, is the utmost mantra, is the supreme mantra, which is able to relieve all suffering and is true, not false. So proclaim the Prajna Paramita mantra. Proclaim the mantra which says Gate Gate Para Gate Parasamgate Bodhisvaha Gate Gate Para Gate Parasamgate Bodhisvaha Gate Gate Para Gate Parasamgate Bodhisvaha. Do our personal dedications of merit. I'll leave a space for anyone to add in anyone they'd like. All sentient beings are one seamless body and pass quickly from birth to death. We remember those who cared for us and are gone, those who are ill, those who are at war, who are hungry, and who are in pain. May they heal and have peace. We especially dedicate our service to Malintha, our Dharma sister, and her extended family, and the other people of Sri Lanka. Would anyone else like to add anyone else in?
For Jayland Walker and everybody else standing up for Black liberation and Black lives.
Chris and Uncle George.
Joanna Bailey Sheridan.
Anyone else? All Buddhas, in all beings in the 10 directions, subject to the greed, hatred, and delusions of themselves and others. All Buddhas throughout space and time, all honored ones, Bodhisattva, Mahasattvas, wisdom beyond wisdom, Maha Prajna Paramita. Life and death are of supreme importance. Time passes swiftly by and opportunities to awaken are easily lost. Strive to realize your true nature. Do not squander your time by night or day.